Alright, let's see if we can put this airflow meter in charge pipe versus intake pipe to rest. So this is the first car I've actually ever put it in the charge pipe, and that's just because there's an ABS module, so I can't do my normal 180-degree bend with the filter up next to the master cylinder. So that trick basically puts a bit of distance between the airflow meter and the front of the turbo, so stops any surge on back off from going backwards through the airflow meter and stalling the engine. That works well up to 7 pound. I've heard of people going further. I've only ever gone to 7 pound. Like I say, this one's in the charge pipe. The first thing I've noticed is on initial startup and idle, it's actually idling a lot richer. So right down to 12 to 1. That's after it's warmed up. So I haven't driven this car yet. This is a fresh install. So I'm going to take it for a bit of a drive and watch my AFRs and see what I can come up with. Okay, so this is the setup that we're testing today. So air filter directly into the front of the turbo, airflow meter in the charge pipe. So with this setup, factory wiring is long enough to plug in. Obviously, you got to make sure you get your direction correct of the airflow meter. So it would be sucking from the air filter into the throttle body that way. So engine side stays the same, which is why it's upside down and the plug's on the bottom. Otherwise, the plug would be facing this way. So that was just done for neatness. I've got my boost gauge teed in here, and I have my O2 sensor in my dump pipe there. So that's a Bosch wideband LSU 4.9, and that goes to my Innovate reader, which just plugs into the cigarette lighter. So this is my wideband reader. So when driving, I just put this up on the dash so I can keep a good eye on it. Obviously, when we're running a Haltech or a Link or any of the aftermarket ECUs, we'd normally just wire that directly into the ECU and use the logging function to keep an eye on it. So just cruising there, we're sitting on 11.9, 12 to 1, same as idle. That's down to 11, 11.1, 11.3 on back off that. Well, it hasn't stalled. That was down to 10.3 to 1. Again, sitting on 12. Now I have backed the fuel pressure down, right down to 35 pound with back, to try and get this to run a little bit leaner. I don't want to go any lower on the fuel pressure than that. So again, cruising, it's 2700 RPM, 60 k's an hour in third gear, sitting on 11.5 to 1, so it really is quite rich. Now this is an 04 model, so it does have factory narrowband O2. That's been disconnected in this case. No stalling again. This is an 80k an hour road, so I'll give it a little pull up to 80. So that went to 10.0. 10.0 on the pull, so I mean it's safe and it works. So one of the main problems with the factory ECU setup is that it tends to stall on quick deceleration. So if I just come to a sudden stop here, no stalling, down to 11.2. It's idling at 800 revs. It's holding a constant 5 pound. I saw 5.5 pound there, third gear. So that's a tunaracing log manifold, PSR 3076 Gen 2 with a Turbo Smart 40mm external wastegate plumbed back into a 3-inch jump pipe with a 3-inch system. That's a pretty standard sort of setup that I would do. I always put a 5 pound spring in to start with, just in case you see any creep, because we don't have the ability to adjust the fueling. I don't want it to overboost and have issues. But yeah, as I say, this is definitely working. I think it's going to be a bit more thirsty than what it would be with the other setup. If you want to see the setup that I normally run, if you look back at Mild to Wild Tough Lux build, you'll see where the airflow meter is in that. That setup I have tried many times before. I know that it works. So as long as you put that 180 in front of the turbo there, you'll have good AFRs. This setup, this is the first time I've ever done it, as I said. It's working. It's just, it is very rich. Whether you could adjust the fuel pressure down a little bit lower, I just worry about doing that because obviously that's going to create a pretty poor spray pattern from the injectors. I mean, it would be very interesting to see what sort of fuel economy this returns with this setup, but this particular car is getting a Hilux now anyway. So I won't be able to test that. But yeah, bottom line, I guess, if you're having issues, try it in the charge pipe. It definitely works. Not going to hurt anything. So hopefully this puts the debate to bed.